Okay, the final line. Yeah.
Hey Charlie, Herb Lemko, just wondered if you're going to make strategic planning. We're waiting for you. Bye.
Thanks, that was quick.
Oh, I told you people
His wife was
Is
just...
that the agenda?
Was she?
Do you need one?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
all
yeah,
need
just
one.
make
Other
it
than
count.
Herb, we all need one.
All of you
I don't need one. I got it.
Other than Herb, we all need one. That's
Yeah,
it.
well.
I need one too. Yeah. There's not much to it.
Yeah, I know.
There's Charlie. I just called you, Charlie.
He's answered. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are cutting into our profit here by taking these paper copies.
All right.
Well, now if we can get Chris here, we can get started.
She's looking
I
for
did have-
something, she said.
There she, no, she's using the restroom.
Mine's different.
We're waiting for you.
Why? Start without me, go ahead.
Oh, this is the
Is
old
he
one.
ready back there? Are you ready?
It's the April 10th meeting.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners special meeting, June 19th, 2013, to talk about our strategic plan. Turn off your cell phones if you haven't done so, and I'm going to turn it over.
Get a roll call.
Do you need to
Oh, you
roll
want to do
call?
roll call first?
Public comment. You gotta follow the agenda.
Sorry about that.
Roll call first, public comment.
Okay.
Commissioner Inman,
Here.
Lathrop,
Here.
Max Bauer,
Here.
Rennie,
Here.
Thomas,
Yep.
Commissioner Wheelock is excused, and Chairman Lemkool.
Here. So we have call to order, roll call, and public comment. I don't see any public, so therefore, now I can turn it over.
We're good. Great. Hi,
Welcome
everyone. Good to be back. Our agenda for today is to finalize your strategic plan, which could mean lots of things. So let's kind of confirm how we want to spend the time this afternoon. First of all, I thought you might have, now having had the opportunity to review the draft plan, have some comments for things you might want tweaked or language changed or any additions to the document. So maybe we'd spend a little bit of time just making sure that the document is where you want it to be. And then my understanding is you'd like to talk about your work plan for this year, 2013, 2014. So the action items, the goals, the areas of focus for you for this year. I had thought that I might just put things on the flip chart and identify what action steps you've got, timing of things, and who's going to take the lead. But Larry had suggested that
I just let you know what we did last
you
time.
might want to do some kind of
Priority.
post things and vote on things on the wall, and I'm really open to doing, facilitating this any way you like. So I'm here at your service. So is there a preference for how we tackle the second part of our agenda for today?
All I did was just indicate to her that what we've done in previous meetings is we've identified what we want to concentrate on from the high, we're just throwing out everything, and then we just end up voting on them at the end of the meeting, and then whatever scores highest is what we work on. But I just gave her that information, and it's just
I
done
think
before.
you should have a pretty specific set of action steps, because now you have a plan. So it isn't, I don't see us just throwing things out there. I see us saying, to tackle this strategy, this is what we have to do. These are the action steps.
Well, I guess my issue with that comment is that some of us might see some things listed in this strategic plan as a priority, and some of us may not, for the next 12 months. So
Okay.
that's, the only thing I'm saying is, we look at this document, my understanding is we look at this document, make any changes we want, reaffirm the document as the document, and then we extract what's in this document is what we'd like to have for the 12-month plan moving forward, or the 18-month plan moving forward. And then I would think, depending on the list, we would say which ones have the highest priority if we have so much staff time. That's just a suggestion.
So why don't we'll make a master list, and we'll do some kind of voting when we have a master list up of where the highest priority needs to be. Does that make sense? Because there's a lot in this document. So I don't think we want to put everything up and vote on it. I think we want you to, first of all, do as Larry suggested, sort of brainstorm what the list should be for next year, and then we'll do some kind of ranking or voting on it. Is that, everyone comfortable with that process?
I think we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I think, the best part of this whole thing is when we have our discussion, and we seem to get more things accomplished by just open that discussion and have a dialogue with each other to feel out where we're going to go. And maybe down the road, when we start to look at that list, then we can determine whether or not we want to do that at that point. Depends on how long that list is. Because that list basically is Dave's marching orders.
Right.
So,
Just a quick question, if I could. Given the time that we ratify a draft to the plan, okay, and it's this thick, we have in the past presented our strategic plan to the public and online and to the townships and everything in the cities and villages, our strategic plan. And it seems as though, because of how many documents are in this draft, is it possible at the end of the process we can say, is there a possibility we can put an executive version on this thing, on the strategic plan, so it's consolidated, it's easy to read, and it's not real overly thick, and it tells the story about what we need to work on that we can distribute out to the public, rather than trying to distribute this whole thing.
Would if we left out the appendices, is that a strong enough executive version of the document?
I'm looking for no more than 3 or 4 pages, but
Yeah, I mean, these key strategies are really a summary of the big goals that you had
All right.
identified, and then some things that we want to do underneath those to get things done.
all right.
And I was thinking that, we'd kind of use that as our, kind of the focus. We look at, strategic goal number 1 is to maintain our financial strength and stability, continued access to capital. We talk about implementing a 3-year operating budget and a 3-year capital budget and doing all those things. And then as we go through, I don't know if you want to go through each of these departmental plans or just kind of brainstorm, what other things do we need to think about as far as trying to increase our financial stability and make it, what specific tasks should we be looking to do in the next year or 18 months or whatever. And then just, if we think we've got a big enough list there and it's useful, then maybe we can identify how we're going to go about getting there.
I think let's just start off with to see the goal number 1 and find out if anybody's got any changes or any thoughts that they'd like to add to these things.
Yeah, as you can see, I
He
put
did.
in red in here.
Yeah.
Investigate alternative ways of financing services and employee benefits. I mean, we always should be looking for better ways to do things,
Yeah.
to be able to continue.
Does anybody
providing-
have any changes in that goal number 1 that they'd like to see?
Herb, when I came in, I overheard a discussion about the very first pages, mission and vision. So I think maybe we actually even want to start that a
Farther
little
back?
earlier
Okay.
in the document, if I
Right.
could be so.
Okay.
Yeah, because you had introduction process and
Yeah,
individual.
so maybe we could just, and then we can go on to, is that all
Okay,
right? We go on
fine.
to strategy 1?
You're in
So-
charge.
Thank you. So in the, I think it's on the first page is just an introduction and describing the process. So I don't know if there's anything you want to change on the introduction or describing the process. I thought John and Dave did a good job there explaining that. And then on to page 2. if there's no changes there. We have vision and mission.
Okay.
You have a change.
I have a change, yeah. And
Okay.
actually, I'd like to see this, personally, I'd like to see this statement put on as one of our goals, too. It comes from the Grand View. It's a quote about the environment. It says, "To protect and preserve our water resources, forest, natural areas, and the scenic beauty of our county."
The Grand Vision.
Is that Grand Vision? Right.
Yeah.
That's what, I got that quote from Grand Vision. So I don't see that really spelled out in our goals or in our vision. And, you know, it always has been in the past quite beautifully, and I think we've just overlooked it.
And I think what brought that to mind me was Union Township's presentation by Doug, talking about how they value what they have. And so we need to support that. And that's a great way to be able to do that.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know where we're going to put it, but
I see it under our vision, this quote, and I also am looking for it as one of our goals, added onto our goal sheet.
Is it different than goal number 7?
Goal number 7, I just didn't see it spelled out real good.
Right. I'm just wondering if it's a sub-goal of that, or if that's the overriding goal, and
I think you could just continue
where
on
it
with that
I
sentence.
see this statement as
Or continue.
broader, and we could have sub-things under it, but this is a very broad statement that in the past, even years ago, when I wasn't on the board and I used to look at the board visions, I always saw something like this. And I think we just overlooked it.
okay.
But it should be under goal 7.
I think it should be above goal 7. It should be,
Can we revise goal 7 so that it reflects both what's in goal 7 as well as what's in the Grand Vision?
maybe goal 7 could be protect and preserve our water resources, forests, natural areas, and the scenic beauty of our county.
It says the same thing.
I think it should be a goal.
Just replace it.
Is everyone okay if I just replace goal 7 with that statement?
I don't know, I just like that. I want to
Like
see
that
it.
language, yeah. Yeah.
They're really clear that we're going to protect our environment, our water
Yeah.
resources.
yeah, I see it's pretty hard to fit all this under one heading.
Why don't you
I mean,
put
you
it
talk
number
about
8?
affordable housing
Put it at the
fitting
top of
into
7.
environment, it just
The other
doesn't,
stuff is housing.
it seems like it's a quality of life issue,
Yeah.
not
Charlie has,
necessarily an environment issue, although I guess you
Charlie
could
has
say
has an
environment.
interesting idea. Maybe under strategic goal 7, we could make this A or B.
I think you could do it number 8.
Or just do number 8.
Yeah,
And
I
just
would
give it
just-
emphasis.
And maybe move the
It's a
dams
big
under it.
thing.
Put the
Yeah,
dams,
move-
reorganize
and move
the other
dams
one.
underneath there, move
Yep.
some of those things underneath
Yeah.
that.
Yep,
So would you repeat that again?
Yeah. Protect and preserve our water resources, comma, forests, comma, natural areas, and the scenic beauty of our county.
and move F and B in number 7 to this number 8.
Move the stuff that's associated right down to number 8 then, like the dam,
Make sense?
parks and recreation, go down.
Anything else? Water resources, natural areas.
Okay.
Anything to do with the conservation district or other things that we do, drain commissioner? All of those fall under the environment piece?
Yeah, yeah. Soil erosion, stormwater, parks,
Resource recovery?
resource
Right.
recovery.
Great. Dan, did you also want me to add in language under vision, or does that capture it if I put it as a goal number 8?
That'd do me, I just want it there. The goal number 8 is just fine, and
Good.
and then we've got things we can move under there automatically.
Great.
We just talked about.
We'll just rearrange it. Okay. Anything else on this page 4? So we've got mission, vision, focus, and goals. Okay, I'm going to move to the handout that Dave gave us with key strategies.
And all the things in red are things that I've added since you last met. I just, these are things that came to my mind that might want to be added. So don't feel like you need to put them in there, but I think we want to do those things. Well, we should probably take them one at a time, huh?
Yeah, they'll take goal number 1. Is there still a good goal? Is there anything missing? Dave has suggested adding in, investigate alternative ways of financing services and employee benefits. And
That's a good one.
I'd like to see that.
What's really going to be interesting on this whole process, and we have to remember that, Dave has made the comment that he's going to start doing his monthly report in relationship to this. So he will be giving you a report on how
We're doing
him and his staff are doing on attaining these goals.
Good idea.
So we're going to change the way that's going to be. So when you start looking at this, think about what you're going to get on the other end on this process. And so that if you think there's something else that should be here, this is the time to add that piece to it so that we can, and it's also going to be whether or not how we're going to manage how well he's doing when we start to doing a critique of his review.
So in a way, this will be your report card and our report card,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're going to, if you can envision the report that I give you,
yeah,
well, it's going to have these little numbers and letters next to it.
great.
It's going to say, for 1A, when I start talking about the 3-year operating budget, and I say, this is what we're doing toward getting that finished, it'll be, if I report on that, it'll have 1A next to it. And if we're going to talk about resource recovery, if there's something happening in the resource recovery area, it might be under 8.
Okay, and so,
Or it might be a combination of 2 or 3 of these. It might be under financial stability and environment and something else.
so in a sense, your monthly report is going to be our monthly report card. It's us as a team.
Yeah, it's going to be related back to this document.
So I was wondering about that. We've got all these goals, but how can you manage something you can't measure? How can we measure if we're doing it? And you will be doing that. You'll be measuring some way, coming up with a way that we can adjudicate if we're carrying these out.
Well, some of this is just progress, so he can tell you.
That's why I wanted to point this out.
Yeah.
That this is what we're looking at, this is what we're establishing this document, and so that we can get a review on a regular basis as to how well Dave and his staff are doing to accomplish what we have. We're policymakers, we're not doers.
Yeah.
We're going to manage those policies by the reports that we're getting.
And this will help me to focus on the policies. When I'm with my department heads and county employees, we're going to be focused on doing these things.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, well, we want to do that. And we're going to say, how does it fit into here?
Right.
Doesn't it? If it doesn't, and it's still important, maybe we'll bring it back and say, we need to modify the plan.
So this is amendable then?
Yes.
As the year goes
Yes.
Oh, very definitely. This is
Yes.
not.
Tonight, we're going to talk about resource recovery.
Yeah.
We may come up with policy action items related to that might be part of our strategic plan. We need to add to as a task on our strategic
Okay.
plan.
Yeah.
I would envision that the big strategic goal areas will remain pretty constant for the next 3 years, but all these items, these
We're gonna
A
change.
through F,
Are gonna
we
be-
just can't possibly predict what's
Yeah.
going to happen over the
Right.
next, even
And there'll be things that'll
month,
become
yeah.
at us at once that we've got to spend a lot of time on and defer some others, so.
Yeah, and opportunities will arise, and you'll just say, we need to move that up, make it a bigger priority, because we have an opportunity right now.
And
So-
our agendas could start to come into this play also. As we do our agendas for each of our individual committees, some of these could come underneath those agendas and say, how are we doing on a monthly basis toward
Yeah.
these goals?
Have you ever done this before, had a strategic goal? This is
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It really tells you how well your executive director is doing. They do it with the pavilions. Every month we get a report as to how well Corey's doing. I've done it with the mental health board, and they always talk about how they're meeting their goals and what they're going to do. It really leads more meaning to what you're doing, and it tells the public how well you're doing also, whether or not you ought to be reelected. So you can point to some of these things and say, we have accomplished. So,
I like this.
Yeah.
And it also shows us that our administrator's not as scared to be evaluated.
that's exactly it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, for the last 10 years, Dennis extract what our annual goal-setting
Yes, he
session
did.
was, and then he put an update on everything quarterly to the board, and submitted to the board, so.
Well, I mean, this makes your plan a real live
Yep.
plan, because you're referencing, you're using it, it's not just sitting on a shelf or in a computer someplace, so it really brings it to life.
That's
So
what I
it's
was
great.
afraid of. We got this great big plan, and then we put it on the shelf and
No.
forget it.
No, this is-
This helps.
This works.
This makes it actionable, and
Yeah.
that's what we really want, so. So
I'm sorry.
anything under strategic goal number 1?
Other than this, I have a question on C. Does that mean every department head is going to evaluate everything within a department that's a program or service, determine how many people are actually utilizing it, and if it's worth actually maintaining or continuing, and then try to do an assessment of is the service and programs actually working? Are they providing the services to the expectations of the customer and to us, and are they meeting the accomplishment of the program and service? I mean, is that something that you had planned on, Dave, or I just want a
This is a
clarification
board
of that?
goal that if you want to implement it and have them do those things so that you can, because ultimately you have to make decisions about what services are necessary. That's your, this is a big goal for you guys. How you get there is if you want the departments to, come to you and you want to have broad-based hearings with them to talk about their levels of services and what kind of services they provide and who's doing those services and do all that, that's one way of doing it.
Well, I thought this was something that we had talked about as a board previously with Dennis Aloya, that if we got into a situation where we had to make some structural cuts within the budget, then we'd have to find out, which programs and services we were going to eliminate.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to get this information.
Well, and as a subtask, it's the mandated versus non-mandated
Right.
expenditure, net expenditure analysis. Net expenditure meaning if they bring in revenues and then they cost money, it's the difference that you need to talk about rather than, we'll cut that expenditure and we'll save that money. Well, no, you're going to cut the revenue too. So that's a subtask of that, and that's another way of looking at this. And when you look at, our levels of services, there's no question, the big number of your non-mandated, if you have a big problem, if they cut revenue sharing for us and, or if we have to absorb that and we don't have any kind of replacement revenue, there's not a lot of places to go. One big spot where all your money is, your non-mandated money is socked, and that's in the sheriff's department.
Yeah. And when I went to county commissioner school, the one time I did, they talked about that yes, your sheriff services are mandated, but at certain levels they are, not everything they do. So,
Well, the road patrol is the biggest non-mandated service that we
Yeah.
provide.
I think this should be ongoing, that we should
$6 million.
always be looking at our programs and services, no matter what we're doing. I mean, if you don't review them on a regular basis, then, you don't know how well you're doing.
Yeah.
We don't review them on a regular basis.
But he should, and this is his marching orders.
Well, and that's it's part of the budget process. That's part of what we do. It's we go through, we sit down with the department heads, and we talk about their services and what they're doing and how the laws are changing and that's the way to do it.
Yep.
Now, if we can do that with commissioners, or we can do it separately in separate meetings. It takes a lot of meetings to do this. But we get through it in the summer, and then a budget is rendered from that process.
Personally, I think that's why we hire you.
what other services are mandated other than the sheriff?
Well, the sheriff's not
Prosecutor,
mandated.
you
The
got a
sheriff is a
clerk,
constitutional officer, and he's mandated to be the supervisor and custodian of the jail.
Right.
And all the inmates.
Right.
He has a role in law enforcement, but it's not specifically defined in statute. There's a, you know, I'm not sure who's the chief law enforcement officer of the county, the prosecutor or the sheriff, but the prosecutor tells you it's the prosecutor.
I think it's
or the sheriff.
prosecutor.
But at any rate, but deputies and road patrol, that's all non-mandated.
What about health department? Is that mandated?
The health department is mandated at a specific level. They have a maintenance of effort number due to a long history, which I can explain to you one day if you'd like to hear it. The state was supposed to pay for 50% of all those services, and during the Engler era, he came up with some creative ways to not have to pay for that. And so, but we're stuck at a maintenance of effort number. So we're above that. So there's a portion of health department services that are not mandated, and but there's a level of expenditure that we can't go below without violating laws and not providing mandated services.
So I
And the
guess
clerk's
I'd be
officer,
interested in
your
seeing a list of
Clerk,
what is
treasurer.
mandated. I'd like to know. I have no idea, really.
Yeah.
I might mention that you don't have to have a jail, but you have to provide for this service. Because I can name a county that doesn't
Yeah,
have a jail.
that's right.
You
But
just farm it out.
You're
Yeah.
mandated to provide jail service.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of us know some things, but wouldn't it be nice to have a list of what is mandated? If we're going to do this C here, I'd like to know what's mandated.
Dennis had put that
We-
together one
Yeah,
time
I was
for
going to
us.
say, we have one.
But we have to
And
find
Dean's
it.
on it. Dean's already been put on that
Yeah.
task.
Oh, okay. So we're going to get a list?
Yes.
Okay.
With, citations, MCL numbers that say this is why it's mandated and so
Good.
on and so forth. Or the Constitution says this.
Okay.
So the one thing I think is interesting here is that we don't say how to do this. We're saying these are our goals to do. The how and why, the why is us, the how is him.
Okay, cool.
And it really ties in closely to F, because how we finance it and whether we do it and how we do it, and all those two are kind of tied together, but one is just a little different than the other. One has to do with financing. How are we going to come up with the money for this? Sometimes that means we're going to do it with less people, and sometimes it means we're going to find new ways to fund it.
Charlie?
Are you going to put dollar figures on this list, so we know? And then can you also tell us what we're doing, dollar figures that's not mandated,
Right.
both sides?
Yep.
So we know.
That'd be cool. Okay.
What is implied in number C, but not really stated, is that you might also find areas that you wouldn't eliminate, but that you could improve. So this is pretty black and white, either we're going to continue
Right.
or eliminate it. And the truth is, as you're reviewing those areas, Dave probably very often finds places just to improve the process.
Right.
And it may be more efficient, it may be more cost-effective. And so I don't know if you want to spell that out here, or whether it's implied, and whether the way this is stated is good
I like
enough.
the idea of adding improving.
So do I.
Because you actually,
like-
when you were kind of paraphrasing this, or you actually
Right.
said process improvement, and that
Right.
triggered to me that it's not really spelled out here
Where would
yet.
that go?
I just,
Add improve. That should,
Under which number? Under
under C,
C, okay.
what could be eliminated, what could be improved,
Yeah.
it could just be part of the list here.
I would say improved or maybe, or eliminated. Put
eliminated, yeah.
improve first.
Another example would have been
Okay, yeah.
animal control.
Exactly.
Right.
So we improved the
improved it.
service.
Yeah, we improved it.
Yeah.
Actually did both. You improved and you eliminated.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. I'll add that in.
Okay.
Anything else under
Brings
goal
up cat
number?
licenses.
That's that one vote.
I love it.
Again, you manage to get that in every meeting, don't you?
Hey, half their business is.
There are
at least
counties
half
that
their
charge,
business
that
is
have a
cats.
cat license and charge for it.
I know, I'm just,
There are.
free.
I was
I think
surprised.
it makes a ton of sense. I don't think it's wrong. Anything else under goal number 1?
We are going to add F. That's correct, Mr.
Yeah.
Newman?
Yeah, is that all right with everyone? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about goal number 2, strengthen and expand the use of technology?
Do we want to put in anything in here about the continued using of TV2 for our meetings? That we would continue to operate that? Because we don't put it in a goal, it comes up through the budget.
I can put it under, Herb, I put it under goal number 4, and it's D.
Yeah.
So it was continue community engagement and
all right.
access to information. I can move it, but I put it as continue broadcasting public meetings under goal number 4.
Yeah, in that regard, I was concerned about the, you know, sooner or later, we gotta update the technology in the room. The monitors are old, so you can't use older versions, the higher resolution things, because it's all lower resolution back when 1080p, 1080i, and P were not even invented yet. And so when people bring their stuff into our laptop, it doesn't display anything more than a certain resolution, so they gotta get the big picture rather than the small picture, and it's the monitors in there need to be upgraded sooner or later, and probably
It's
should
all
get
part of the
the
technology.
streaming ready for mobile. I don't know if that's important or not, but it's a technology piece. So I saw it as develop a technology plan kind of covers it. We know that we need to do a bunch of things, and we can prioritize that plan after we put it together.
That sounds good, okay.
Under item A, I just want to make sure that the person that develops the technology plan understands that there's kind of like 3 components, I think, to this thing. One is taking the technology we have and enhancing it to a newer version, and probably more options and, something more workable.
Right.
And the second part is going to be, for those that don't have technology, should they have technology on their desk, laptop or whatever. And the third part is this long-term planning for scanning documents for the court system and eventually for other departments within the county for archiving documents, or even, like as the court has, getting everything online. So that's probably the fourth component is, can you provide your service online like the courts have, and you just process everything online? They submit everything through the court, through the court system online, and it's all electronic and all that kind of stuff.
So do I need to be more specific here?
Well, I just don't know if that's, I have to look for the plan, the action plan on it, but I don't see it here. But
Okay, so seek to provide services online whenever desirable.
Well, I think, it's interesting to note that we've had 2 different elected officials bring technology stuff to us in the last month for our approval.
Yeah.
And where does that fit into this plan? And we need to specify that, we've already encouraged them to step out of their box and bring in new ideas. But, we really haven't talked about making sure that we're going to offer, credit card service for the treasurer's office. We're going to offer photographs now for passports and gun licenses. And so all these things they're starting to bring forward, and we don't really talk about them in our plan. And when we start bringing that stuff, when people bring it, we ought to be able to go back to this plan and say, how does it fit? If it doesn't fit, do we really want to offer it, or do we want to change the plan?
Well, wouldn't any of the things we're talking about fit generally under this goal too? I mean, we're talking, anything technology, where it comes,
Yeah.
we don't need to do anything with
Sure.
this.
This is, I think it covers.
It covers it, yeah.
Well, could this be stronger if I reword A to read, develop a multifaceted technology plan
That's good.
with priorities, budget, and funding, and including upgrading existing equipment, purchase of, equipment where there's gaps, covering
You could use, for example,
Yeah, just put, so
For
this is a
example,
little
those
bit
things you
more
mentioned.
specific, but not real
that would be better.
prescriptive.
That would be better. I like that.
Yeah, so it's not real prescriptive, but at least
Right.
maybe a little bit, because a year from now, you might not even remember that we had this, of course, you could look at the tape, but,
So you could say multifaceted, and you could say, for example, add the things you just said.
right.
Okay.
So Larry, we've got upgrading of existing equipment,
And then identifying those that need need the technology, and then you've got the
Service
ability
improvements.
to do business electronically within your department, and then it's the archiving and scanning of documents.
See, I've
Scanning
said
and
that.
archiving of documents.
I've said that for the construction code, that with the technology today, they not necessarily may not have to ever go out and visit a construction site. You got your camera, shows your camera, the guy sitting in there looking at it, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this, writes a permit, the permit goes out, and it's all taken care of.
Wow.
I mean, that's where technology could go. I'm not saying we're going to go there, that's where it could go.
But they can't do it when it comes to inspections.
Well,
Thank you.
There ain't no way they can do it when it
Thank
comes
you.
to
Dave,
inspections.
who actually develops this plan?
But-
Who does that?
Well, it's going to come to you in a 3-year budget,
yeah,
Okay, but what
and it's going to show
personnel-
where we're going for the next 3
Who
years.
is going to actually physically handle it, putting it together?
Don's going to
Internal
put together,
people or
yeah,
external
Don
people?
and his staff are going to put it together,
Are they qualified
and
to
then
do
we're going
this?
to, that's a good question. I mean, I think they're qualified. I don't
Seems like they're pretty
think it's a
wrapped up
bad
in
idea to get another set of eyes on it, though.
That's my point. I think we should have an outside look at it for stuff that they're not even aware of themselves yet, because they're working in this building, keeping what we have going.
Okay.
See, the issue is you'd have to find someone that has been involved in a technology upgrade plan for other counties, because
I agree.
you're gonna walk into these departments and you're not gonna have the faintest idea what's going on.
All right.
we got that under goal 5, number E.
Yeah, if you were going to find an expert in the way governments provide services, Don Sheehan's probably as close to an expert as you're going to get.
In IT?
Yeah.
I don't
I mean, because he's been around for
I
a
know he's been
long
around,
time.
but
and
I
he
thought we
knows- But he
talked-
doesn't know that, it doesn't mean he knows the new stuff.
That's
He
my
knows
problem.
how things are done
now, but we need a guy who knows what's
Right.
out there now, not here.
Right.
Okay, that's a different guy.
I hear you.
I don't think that exists.
Yeah, he does. Microsoft or something, yeah.
well,
I'll
I think
talk
it's
to him
probably a
about that.
combination of both.
See what we can do
yeah,
about
yeah.
getting,
Don't we have in here somewhere that we're going to try to use outside people?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
goal
it's-
5, number E.
Goal 5, number D?
E.
well, it's
Oh,
also,
I
it's
didn't-
also under C
Yeah.
in this strategic goal 2.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is.
yeah, okay.
But, it's hard to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You don't know what you don't know. And I agree with Charlie that, if, I have no idea what Don knows, maybe he is a world's expert, but if you're going to do something totally new, like revamp this whole thing, eventually,
It's not done.
it wouldn't hurt to bring in an expert.
Sure. I agree.
Okay, anything else under goal 2? How about goal 3, addressing infrastructure needs?
Under A, we do have a capital improvement plan for 5 years, and I think that 5 years is about up. Can you look at the date of that? Because I think we probably need to come back and revisit the capital improvement plan and mark off what's done and add to what we need to do. I think we need to look at that again. 'Cause I'll bet you that's at least 5 years old.
Larry, should I be calling this, instead of an infrastructure plan, should I be calling it a capital improvement plan?
I think that's what we had in mind, but,
It's,
I mean, just so I'm using the same language
well,
as what you're used to using.
yeah, because I think it merges together. We're not talking about like infrastructure as in terms of roads or bridges. We're talking about, the county's facilities and
roofs, parking lots, carpet.
parking lots, carpet, yeah.
So
Buildings.
should I leave it infrastructure, you think? Does that say it better than capital improvement?
Well, it's also, equipment, things that aren't normally considered
Infrastructure?
infrastructure.
Why don't you
So
want me
it's-
to, I just would rather use the language that you are accustomed to using. So if capital improvement is good, or I can put capital improvement and infrastructure plan.
Well, I think we need to say both.
Say, list them separately?
Yeah, well, I think you're gonna have it in the capital improvement plan. So I would say establish a capital improvement / infrastructure plan.
If you're gonna pick one, I think it should be capital improvement.
If it's gonna pick one, you pick capital improvement.
I'll put the slash, how about that?
Okay.
Sounds good.
So that, because it sounds like it's broader than equipment and buildings, there might be some parking lots and some other things that sort of fall outside of that. Okay. And then Dave added some things here.
Along with the capital improvement plan, you know, we've identified we need to look at the Woodmere and the Front Street properties, because they're coming up due for lease expirations, and we're looking at potential of, I think they indicated that there isn't enough room at the city senior center to bring the Commission on Aging over there. I think they've already established that. So I'm not sure that needs
Well,
to
they're still going to be working on it. I mean, it's going to be a project that's coming at us, and it really should be on this part of the plan, because we're going to be dealing with it. Or, if you don't want to deal with it, maybe you just say, let the Commission on Aging do it. I don't know.
Well, aren't they doing a program right now? We're talking about that?
They're working. I mean, they've asked the city if they could use the $200,000 or so that has been set aside from a donor for a new facility, if they could use it for renovations. And they've received an okay from City Council on that. But that's as far as we are right now.
Isn't that sort of up to them?
There'll be a report at our meeting next month.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we want that oversight, or we want to let them do it?
That's a good question. But we're going to work with somebody to do
or
that.
something?
I mean, it is a,
I kind of, maybe I misunderstood it, but I kind of thought that the decision was made, they're going to stay there and they're going to improve it with the money they've got. And so why is it on our worksheet here if that's what's going to happen?
We may, because we are responsible for the employees of that building.
Okay.
and it's county tax money.
I get it, but...
You know, everything except for the renovation piece, the renovation's going to be done with private funds, from my understanding. But the maintenance of that facility and all the people that run it are paid for
Okay.
by the county.
So the whole emphasis there is that the renovation of the facility, period.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to do? We're going
Yeah,
to
it's not saying it's moving, they're
help
moving
out,
over
or we're
there.
going to...
I believe there's some talk inside the Commission on Aging that they want to get out of there. To be honest with you.
Is there?
Well, it's not the best facility.
I mean, you can't even get in there, for God's sake. You know?
Yeah.
Beta won't go there anymore even.
Well, that's a subsection of B, because we got to figure out whether we're going to be there or not.
I think they should tell us if they want to
See
be
me
there
bite
and
my
then go from
tongue.
there, you know?
Oh, you're on that board, aren't you?
So is Commissioner Inman. I don't see him jumping in there either.
Well,
He's
I
got other
think
goals.
we convey to the city commission that that the lease is expiring soon, and that, you know, there needs to be a discussion whether we're going to continue to stay there or not.
Now, are you talking about, now, Larry?
Senior center, or are you talking
No,
about?
I'm
Yeah,
talking
there's two
about the
different
Front
things here.
Street office
I
for the
think we
Commission on
should be
Aging.
talking about Front Street office, right?
Yeah, you jumped.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The Front Street office
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Commission on Aging. But as a D, it seems to me we need to...
How about we change it to regarding facilities for the senior center, regarding the senior center facilities?
That sounds good.
That's fine.
Instead of potential renovation,
All
we'll
right,
just
that's
say,
fine.
we're going to work with the city and the Commission on Aging regarding senior center facilities.
That's fine. That's
And that
fine.
leaves it wide open on what might happen.
Right, okay.
Okay.
That sound better?
So that would be goal
wording
3C.
Yeah.
Work with the city commission on aging
City and Commission on Aging.
regarding the senior center?
Yeah, period, get off that.
Senior center
renovation.
On
Facility.
senior center facilities.
Okay. I have a proposed D,
Oh, good.
and that's to do...
I'm just having fun with that.
Yes. That's an evaluation of, the evaluation of the prosecutor's workspace, and whether we're going to continue to have that trailer, that modular home on the side there, or get him into a newer, different facility, or move him over to the governmental
Prosecutor's
side.
not in a modular home.
I think that was a modular.
Let's
No,
throw,
that was-
No, he's in
You're thinking
Sheriff
of-
Weiler's
you're
old
thinking of
house.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, I
work
thought
release
that's a
thing.
modular
No,
home.
it's
so-
not.
Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's
I
not.
don't think it was stick-built, was it?
It's brick and mortar stick
You
built.
bet.
All right,
You're thinking of the work release trailers.
well, all right, let's just rephrase that, that, you
throw
know.
trailers in there?
That
We need-
module is where the work release people were.
That's right, that's right. So we need an evaluation of the prosecutor's office space needs.
Well, he had brought that up, so we ought to put it in
We
our
gotta
plan.
put it in there.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
Build
should
new
that be a
jail and let him
specific?
have part
Or
of the
just
old
under this
jail.
infrastructure thing?
Well,
We
we,
had talked about that a lot. really.
infrastructure has to do with
I
like
know it.
roofs, windows, all that
Okay.
stuff.
Because we
Plan
had
on
talked
winning the
several
lotto
times
anytime
about that.
soon.
So do we also put into this thing whether or not we, we're looking at a jail overcrowding, do we have to put something in here to start 3 or 4 years from now, at least start looking at whether or not we're gonna have to do a jail? Or, I mean, is this something we want to put in today, or do we want to leave it open for a while? Chris?
We need,
You made the
and
point.
probably in all likelihood
Pretty
will
much where we
need,
should be is
sadly,
more beds.
Yeah, for our
additional
population.
jail space. The question is,
Where?
where? Do we want to provide it for ourselves, or do we want to contract it with another county? Dave, what does Leelanau County charge us per night?
$30.
You can't get a Red Roof Inn for $30.
That's right.
I guess
Food is delicious.
the only response,
So-
the only response I have to this whole subject matter is that, I've got data for every county in the state and all their jail bed space and their capacity levels and whether they're overcrowding or not. And we are exactly on the average. Okay, we're right in the middle, average compared to bed space per population based on, where we should be in terms of number of beds for our jail facility for our population level. So, the guiding rule is if you're within that range, then you should be looking more internally within your jail to seeing how you're assessing, evaluating, and doing different programs for jail diversion and some other types of sentencing guidelines or other diversion programs to manage your jail population, that your jail bed space should be adequate for your population level.
I'm just asking whether or not we should be putting it in our plan that we want Dave to start looking at that kind of stuff and reporting back to us on a regular basis.
Unless we see
Or
a
do we
spike in
delay that for a
population, I
while?
don't think it needs to be there.
So I don't,
We
Monitor?
should be looking at it.
Should we be monitoring?
I think you should monitor it, but I don't think we should do anything further than that.
Monitor
Okay.
jail population levels and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we're gonna continue.
At one time, I had the floor.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris. We're having a round-robin discussion.
And that's fine, I don't mind that. It's such a rare occurrence when people kind of out-talk me. Gotta enjoy it when it comes.
I thought you were
Anyway,
done. Obviously, you're never done.
Hey,
Anyway,
careful there.
back to the jail thing. I think that we need to take a look every month at whether or not our jail, well, maybe not monthly, but at least twice a year, whether how we are doing it is the most efficient, cost-effective way for our courts and for the county taxpayer. And I say that because back to Leelanau County, we can house an inmate for $30 a night. What does it cost us? I think it's more than $30 a night. I'm just guessing.
Well, our last bill was quite substantial, that we had like, 40 or 50 prisoners over there at one point in time at $30 a day, times a multiple of 40. I mean, I think he was up to damn near 50, 60,000 bucks.
Once again, I thought I had the floor.
Larry?
Well, you got it, sweet.
I mean, when you pause, Chris, you open that up,
I know.
because we don't know if you're finished or not. You
No,
just pause and you end.
All I'm saying is,
I think her point's a
you
little
know,
different though, Larry.
all I'm saying is we have to take a look at it on a regular basis. I'm not saying that what we're doing is wrong. I'm not saying that what we're doing is right. But what I am asking is, okay, Leelanau County just built a brand-new jail. They've got all this technology similar to what we have in our new courthouse where an individual who is charged is brought up on a
Yeah.
screen, they see the judge, you don't have to transport him back and forth. Now, you know, for $30 a night, maybe that's cheaper than how much is a new jail, Commissioner?
20 mil.
don't know.
You know?
35
All right,
million.
20, 30 million. Maybe that's the way we have to go for a while, or should plan on going. I'm saying we should look at it. That's
you
all.
done? Are
Now
you
I'm done.
All right.
Okay, Charlie?
I think Chris makes a great point. We should know what it costs to house a prisoner in our jail. Our jail's archaic, we all know that. It's probably costing us, and I've talked to people at the jail saying they have more head count than a newer jail would have, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Patchworked and made that thing work. They do a great job over there with what they have. But her point, if it costs us $35 here to keep a guy in jail,
And
why
30
wouldn't we go
somewhere
someplace
else.
else
Yeah,
if it's
why
there?
not?
Why don't we farm it all out? if
That's a
true?
great
Yeah.
point.
Well, I'm
thing-
not saying to do that, I'm saying let's
What would be
look
wrong
at
with
it
it?
regularly.
What would be wrong with it?
But that's
If
what
that were true,
Dick
farm it
Thomas
all
knows
out
in
and
the county
move
that
the
does that.
prosecutor into the jail.
But on the same time, what you're not calculating on that $30 a day is the cost for the deputy to drive back and forth
Transportation,
and his car
back and
time.
I'm saying.
And we need to just review it.
Technology where they are arraigned on a screen. I see it in our
Oh, yeah.
courts regularly.
Yeah,
And if that's the case, then that's not a factor.
yeah, well,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not.
That
So
you
do we
had
want to
on that.
add something into this plan related to the reviewing and evaluating how we handle the jail space, prisoners, or is that not to be included in this plan?
Well, I think you've already got it when you talk about review county services and evaluate what's mandated, what should be continued, what should be improved on or eliminated. You've already got it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I think to add to her point, I think is that, you know, we've talked about, do we really need to have corrections officers in the court system standing there during all these trials? And that's what's killing us with overtime and the staffing part. So part of that general description that Chris just defined as, should we be looking at the sheriff's department and the courts in terms of how they operate and the efficiency of both, in both areas, you know, the video arraignment, we do have video arraignment available in the jail, but do they utilize it? And the second part is the deputies over there, should we have something like retired police officers that get paid like an hourly rate rather than a whole benefits package? And free up the deputies to do what they need to do in the jail? Those are things that we need to look at, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
So where do you
All
put
right,
that?
we agree.
But that falls under goal number 1C, reviewing all county services
I
and
think it does.
evaluating.
It sure doesn't go under the infrastructure needs. I mean, the infrastructure is basically whether or not we should build a jail or whether we do a regional jail or something else. You know, it doesn't look at all the other services.
Yeah. Well, I just heard that under C, 1C, we're going to add a goal that says investigate alternative ways of providing courthouse security.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Sure. I think that's a good one. Yeah.
And we also, under the infrastructure needs, we want to add an E to monitor jail inmate population levels to determine whether we're getting close to needing a new jail.
I think that's important because it's a $20 million expenditure, isn't it?
35.
It's a huge,
Or whatever it is.
last-
I mean, so
I can guarantee you that,
Last
I
estimate
can't
was
tell you off the top of
35
my
million.
head what the cost per day, per bed is.
the new jail would be
But
big.
we can make that calculation fairly quickly. We don't have a debt service, so, that plays into it. I can guarantee you that Leelanau County does have a debt service, and that is not included in that $30 a day. That number's probably more like $45 or $50 a day, the actual cost of providing that bed.
that could be, but we're still looking
But
for our
that's
costs.
their problem, not
Yeah.
ours.
That's their problem, that's correct. We're getting it at a huge discount.
The other thing, though, that I will caution is that we can put too much on here
Yeah.
Right.
that can't get done.
Well, I'm just adding this for my needs.
You check which one's the most
I'm
important.
listening.
Priority on it.
So,
I'm taking notes.
yeah, okay?
Okay, let's keep going then. Anything else under infrastructure? Goal 4, community engagement and access to information. We had a lot of discussion about a communication plan. Looks like, Dave, you made a couple changes here.
Yeah, there was a separate, the second strategy was to identify leadership needs to execute the communication plan. I thought we could combine it.
Okay, great.
Is that under A? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Who does that?
I did. I just took the second one. There was a first one that said develop a communication plan with effective strategies for communicating with the public, and then there was a second one that said identify leadership needs, and I just combined them.
So do we need a specialist, to do that, or does that, do we need like someone who knows how to put information out there, or who compiles this?
As far as leadership needs?
As far as the plan itself, who would direct where we're going with this? Someone in a department, or?
Well, I think that falls upon my shoulders.
Okay.
I'm not sure where everyone was going with it, but I think we decided we need
I agree,
to have a communications plan.
I agree.
The question is how do we do that? How deep do we want to get into it? Do we want to go all the way into, staffing it and all that, or we want to hire somebody to help us, or do we
And
want
that's-
to just designate people to do things from time to time? I mean,
That's a
That'll come out of
non-mandated
the plan that
service.
you develop then, you'll make recommendations then as to that?
yeah, we're going to have to come up with a serious plan.
I agree with that, I think it's a
Decide how
priority.
much we're going to spend.
I think it's a high priority, I really do, what's facing us.
You know what, I don't understand this one. Can someone, goal number 4, can you translate it for me? What is it that we're trying to do? Goal 4?
Sell the brand.
We had a lot of discussion about increasing the community's
Transparency.
awareness of the role of the county commissioners, all the things that the county has accomplished and doing
So
for
we're
the
talking
public.
like a
and-
PR
Yeah.
thing. Is
Yeah,
that what you
yeah,
mean?
and then just making sure that they have access to, continue to have access to information and transparency. So this whole area was about just making sure that the public wasn't well-informed and knew the progress that was being made, knew all the accomplishments being made, as well as had access to information.
So sometimes, now I understand, some of our departments have people like that,
Right.
right? So we're thinking about this body having a person like that. Is that what
Yeah.
you're
So we
saying?
might be thinking about one person doing it all.
That's what I'm thinking about, one specialist.
Could be too.
One person doing it all for the whole county for all the
Talks for the
departments.
county,
Right.
or that department talks for the county.
That's not a bad idea.
Great idea.
Yeah.
We had actually talked about a position when we were doing our other meetings, but it sounds like what Dave is recommending is that they do the plan and then they identify how to execute the plan as part of that plan and whether they need to change the staffing or
Right.
reallocate resources there.
I don't know if this is the time to say this or not, but is it possible that person could also be our grant writer? Because I wonder, is this a full-time job?
You gotta decide that.
Depending on what kind of plan you've got.
Yeah.
How deep do you want to get into it? I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
have public meetings that, have a citizens academy and, do a lot of outreach.
Would this person,
Pushing out a lot of information to the public.
would this person handle the press?
Yeah.
Obviously,
call.
it wouldn't take the burden off you folks, though. I mean,
For
but,
responses and stuff.
Yeah, you're still going to be there.
yeah. But they would produce press releases and produce information. When I had one in Midland for about 3 years. And, they got information out that would not have gotten out. Things that were happening in the parks, things that were happening in all these service areas, things that are happening in Veterans Affairs. And we try to get the word out, but we don't do it in the way that a communications person would take the time to get it to this, all the media outlets and get it, get it on the internet and get it on this website over here and that website over there and make sure that everybody saw it.
Well, I was surprised when I was out there knocking on doors. A lot of people really had no idea how much good we did for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you need a writer. You need a writer to be able to write all that stuff up.
Chris?
I prefer not to use the word PR.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Providing information is one thing, sugarcoating it is quite another. But, and I know you agree with me on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Providing the public information is one thing. Grant writing is extremely valuable. The other thing that we might be able to combine with this is someone to handle purchasing And
You're not gonna- that's
we've got,
different deals.
you know,
Two different levels of
people
skill.
over here in Department A buying whatever they want because it's in their budget, and there's not necessarily some knowledge, and I can give you one example, but I'm going to bite my tongue and refrain. But anyway, you know, buying what they want because it's in their budget and they can, without having any knowledge of what the best equipment necessarily is. It's because they've been sold. And in those situations, the county is not necessarily getting the best bang for the buck. None of us buy our personal stuff that way. You know, we take a look at value, cost, what we want. You don't, you just buy whatever you want.
Sure we do.
He can.
If only I had
He's got the money.
But wouldn't it be nice to have someone who provided public information, handled purchasing for the county in some coordinated way, shape, or form, and did grant writing?
Larry?
In all reality, those are two different skill sets.
Totally.
And you're not going to find a person that's got the skill set for, you know, knowing the purchasing side of everything and having the skill side of the communication side. You're going to
Tom Menzel did.
you're going to get a major. Typically, you're going to get someone that has a degree in communication, marketing, and
The communication
media
stuff's-
stuff.
I don't have the floor,
You're
I'm sorry.
interrupting me. I wanted to do that. But I'll give you an example. And it's not to say that we shouldn't have somebody involved in purchasing and somebody involved in the other things that some other person mentioned.
Grant writing.
And technology. But I think you got two different skill sets there. But when I went to NACO, they had a session on this, and there was a girl that presented as a presenter there at the conference. And she was working for about the same size county as ours. And she indicated that there was a similar setting, like Traverse City and Grand Traverse County, both in the same building. And we were about the same size, so when she was doing the presentation, I'm like, I got to get this girl's card. Because what she said is that, you know, counties sometimes our size can't afford a full-time communications person, depending on the level of activity on a daily basis. And what they did was, in this community, is the city and the county ended up splitting her time 50-50. And she was the communications person both for the city and the county, and they were in the same building. And I'm like, well, that would be a neat idea. And so she handled all the press releases, the information on the website. Reporters and TV stations, if they didn't want like a quote or an interview on the thing, but they were just looking for the factual information of what happened or what's going on or what was going on or you know, all this other stuff in writing, they called her and she immediately got it all together and sent it off to them so they could read it and have it all together. And it was, she goes, the media and the press and the media outlet just loved the resource of getting to her and getting all the information. Then they went out and called the county commissioners and the city commissioners and the city manager and whatever, and then got quotes. So the question is, if we do something, can we keep this person busy enough? Is it going to be a part-time position, full-time position if we want to look at it? And if it's full-time, can we split it with the city? Maybe, I don't know.
Can we leave that to Tom to figure out as part of the plan? And
Well,
his
also-
recommendation to you?
To Dave.
Oh, excuse me, Dave. Excuse
Larry,
me, Dave.
also your FOIA person,
Yeah.
could your FOIA person be your PR person? I don't know.
I'd leave Cooney as the FOIA person.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Charlie, you had a question.
Yeah, I did. I found that very surprising a couple of weeks ago when you made that statement, we have no purchasing agent at a meeting. I cannot believe an organization this size does not control purchasing. It's unbelievable. What are our purchases every year?
You know, and a purchasing and contracts administrator pays for itself. There's
I mean, I
In
can't
my
believe you
opinion.
can't put that
Me
as a
too.
a person who
priority.
does contracts, and they do some grant things. You know, the one I had in Midland, she did the secondary road patrol grant, the front of the court grant, the child care grant, and the, you know, she did all those, she processed all those to the Board of Commissioners and came in with all the data and all the information and made sure that anytime she had the tickler list, that said, this contract is done on such and such a date, and we got to get that renewed before this. So a month in advance, she had it all done and got it in front of the commissioners when it needed to be
So
approved.
how
It
come
was
we don't-
really
How come we don't have one? I don't
such a
get-
necessary position.
I don't
When I got here and I
understand why
found
we
out that we
don't
distributed, we got rid of the position and gave the departments, you do it.
I agree with Chris. I don't think we're getting our best value.
It is, that position would pay for itself
Absolutely.
in a heartbeat.
Let's go back to,
Okay.
Okay, so do we want to add in here anything about, are we okay with the way this is written under Goal 4? We've talked about a purchasing person. Do we want to add that in or leave that out? Do we want
I
to
think
be
that goes up
specific?
under number 1.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's for you, as
Somewhere-
you're reviewing your services and
yep.
units to make recommendations.
Yeah, it could
to
be
the
under
county
F.
commissioners,
Yeah, improving processes, got to be
Yeah.
entered in here somewhere.
3-year
and this could
budget
be a part of
plan.
that.
Yeah, okay.
All it has to do with budgets.
Can I then move on to Goal 4, or Goal 5?
Absolutely.
Ensure that Grand Traverse County is a fair and equitable employer.
Okay, the board has a big one on 4. It's identify a highly visible project that is led and staffed by commissioners.
Who, what, where, what?
Should we have our spokesperson do that?
Oh, back under 4, yeah, back under 4, excuse me, did I move off 4
So it's
too
consistent at
quickly?
least.
You have to come up with something.
Yeah,
Well, I think you were talking, I think somebody made the suggestion about manning on the 911 new deal about going to the festival, having commissioners man a
Staff
station or
the-
whatever. I mean, that's what I thought the idea was there, but,
Yeah,
We just need to continue doing it.
yeah.
okay.
okay.
And then, yeah, I think number B is really important, and I'm not so sure I wouldn't put that as number A.
I think these should be there.
Seems
mean,
we're
that's-
3-4 years behind on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, to me personally, I think that's a higher priority in that goal than any of the others.
Yeah.
So make this, the first one B and this one A?
Yeah, just switch A and B
Okay.
so that it be, and that's where Larry, when you're talking about ranking these things, some of these we're
Right,
gonna push them
people
up to the
around.
top because you're gonna tell Dave, this is more important for us to be working on than the bottoms on
Right.
the bottom ones, so, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, can I move on to Goal 5?
sure.
Dave made one change.
Yep.
I'm going
Didn't
to add
pick
an E in for the last one. Looks like the E is missing.
Oops.
So, and I think one of the things here is that we always support Martin Luther King Day. This
that's
is
right.
one of those things that comes underneath this,
Yeah, I would agree.
that, when you start looking at some of the programs and services that we provide, all of a sudden, what we're doing fits, and we continue to encourage it. And I think we took some training dollars out of our budget a number of years ago. And, maybe that's a little more important today, that we start looking at how well our employees are trained. I mean, we got fabulous staff. Do they have all the tools necessary to do the job they need to get done? I don't know. But training, I think, is a critical piece.
So, yeah, the A on this was difficult for me. I didn't quite understand where it was going. Launch a workforce plan with a staffing model for the future. I'm not sure what that means.
Well, it might just be my use of verbs. Sometimes when you're writing, you try to use something besides develop.
Gotcha.
But I mean, we
But
talked
still.
about a staffing model for the future, so that would include things like the purchasing person, the communications person, whether you had talked about that some areas might be lean and that folks were working pretty long hours, and so to really just kind of look at staffing overall and how staffing might need to be revamped, and then to do a compensation review, and also identify any training needs that folks might have you may have people who have changed positions or in positions that are changing on a regular basis
So
that
instead of launch, should we use develop?
I could use develop. And it might sound less.
We could say review also.
Develop and review?
Create,
Review the staffing plan.
Does that kind of go along with 1C then? Does that come out of that somehow?
Yep, it kind of does. doesn't it?
Somehow, or how do you put that together?
Yeah, that's in there.
I think we were trying to
That is
specifically.
pretty much what 1C says, isn't it?
Did you do am I remembering this correctly, that you did some sort of an employee survey?
Yes,
And that there was some things you wanted to respond to in the employee survey?
right.
Here, and so it's partly this whole goal number 5 was to speak to the employees a little bit. Maybe I'm not remembering that accurately.
No, you're right. I mean, but that was the compensation and benefits review and position
Yeah,
classification plan.
Yeah.
I think,
So what, you want to combine 5A with 1C?
I'd say A and B kind of go with C to me, I don't know. Or 1C.
I like to see them separate. You know, I think there is a, you know, if you're going to develop and review a workforce plan, you know, what don't we have in our staffing plan that we actually need or want or should have?
But we have to know what's mandated at least,
Well,
and go from
but-
there, don't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, I don't understand D.
Yeah. What's that doing there?
Where's that coming from, Dave?
I don't know.
I think we take that one
I didn't
out.
add this
Can we
one.
take it out?
Yeah, I think we should take that
You know,
out.
another one I'd like to see us take out, I want to go back, if you don't mind. Identify a highly visible project. I brought that up. And, you know, with all we've got to do, I mean, what we're doing right now is highly visible. Maybe we're already doing that.
All right, let's just take that out.
Can we take that one out?
Yeah, I like that.
But our information person
Since I
would be
authored it,
putting that out.
I take it back.
Take it back. Okay, if
Okay.
everyone's okay
The
with
more,
that.
You're starting to realize that
the more you know.
most of them are visible.
Okay, so I'm
Starting
going
to
to
learn
leave under goal 5, A and B. I'm going to take out D.
C.
No, you take
Or
out.
oh,
D.
5 or 4?
5,
D.
I'm going to leave A and B, and I'm going to take out D,
Yep.
D.
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 And if you're rating them, I'd like to see that unlettered or E go up into second place.
Up into second place?
Well, if you're going to rate it by importance.
I agree with that, Mr.
Is everyone okay
Thomas.
with that?
I'm lost.
It's a big part of what we're doing, this
Okay.
development and review thing.
That's right.
Yeah, great point.
D
The,
becomes A.
on C, isn't that more of the wellness committee or the?
Sure.
Isn't that what they're doing? So, one of the issues maybe we want to be is encouraging the committees that are structured within the employee work groups.
Wellness committee and.
The wellness committee, the safety committee,
Everything we get to sign, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, and
This is
I would
almost
just think
this is
that,
almost a values statement.
Right.
yeah,
We're at goal 5, right?
5C.
5D.
5C would be changing that to continue to encourage the committees within within the county, such as wellness, recognition, there's 4 committees, I'm trying to think of the others.
Wellness, recognition.
Safety.
Recognition.
Wellness, recognition, safety, and there's one more.
Yeah, but I would think that would lead, if we just continue to use
support,
those committees, to support those
to
committees.
support and encourage those committees, and then that gets at recognizing the staff and.
But you also got to remember that we took the liaison out of there by commissioners. So does that mean we may want to put the commissioners back into those committees? So that's a discussion.
Commissioners
could
are on
get
the
into.
committees.
Huh?
Commissioners are on those committees.
Nope.
Yeah, they are. Rob Henschel was on wellness.
was.
It was. When we did commissioner assignments, We decided not to do that because
Oh,
we
is
had
that
so
right?
many committees.
Oh, I
meetings that
see, we took those
to.
out. Oh, I
Yep.
see.
So
I don't
is,
recall deciding that, but I deferred to you.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying is that when you do that, then you got to go into that discussion. Do we get reports? Do we get involved? How do we do that? So, but that's not that discussion today.
is there an employee morale, a staff morale question here that we were trying to
So I think
address?
that's,
Were they
all based
feeling,
on
were the
the
staff feeling
classification.
like they needed more reinforcement from the county commissioners or something? And is that what we were
what's-
trying to accomplish
that's
here?
true.
And so is that the best way to do that?
I thought the employee survey, just, the consensus on the employee survey was the dissatisfaction of not having a classification plan. I didn't see anything else on there, did you?
there was a general attitude that the commissioners just didn't care about the employees too much. And, you know,
And that's why, and that, I
when it
think.
came right down to it, but I think, like I said, it had to do with statements that get made on the board floor. All you need is one,
I see, yeah.
you know, and then all of a sudden, that's what they pick up on.
When
It's like,
commissioners-
well, they don't have any, they don't care
Commissioners say
about
they should be
us.
happy that they got a job and we're not giving any
You got one
raises or
commissioner say
whatever.
that, and then everybody goes, well, the commission doesn't care about us.
I'm
And
working
you
really,
get painted with, just by one statement from one commissioner, the whole commission gets painted.
I've been working really hard at that,
Yeah,
so.
that's just something that we constantly have to work at.
Sure.
To encourage positive recognition, not only us to the employees, but from the managers to the employees and from employees to each
Yep.
other.
Yep.
Just, we've got to foster,
So do
Positive
we leave
environment.
this in as it is? Do we take it out altogether, or do we change it per Herb's suggestion to really encourage and support the committees?
I like it. We have, Herb's got it.
yeah, you can, I think including wellness recognition, add those,
Including the employee committees.
including support for those committees.
So which one did we strike under goal 5?
D.
B as in boy,
D.
Yeah.
D as in dog?
D as in dog.
Yes.
Okay.
And under 4, we scratched C.
C.
Now, could we get back to Mr. Thomas's question about using this outside assistance and so forth? He moved that up.
Yes.
That should move up to A.
Are we,
was
B or
B.
something he said, whatever, yeah. Are we going to use outside assistance when it comes to some of this compensation and
If we need it.
contractual
Needed.
I think
negotiations and all that? or-
That's to be determined.
You already said it.
Well, negotiations, we use usually an attorney at the end of the process, but, going in, if we were going to do a compensation study, we definitely want to do that outside. We want to have somebody come in that has that expertise.
Makes sense, yeah.
I mean, the 50-mile rule is definitely in effect when you do that. Otherwise, there's all kinds of personal influence that occurs.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, can we move on to goal 6?
Can we restate that goal?
We can do whatever you like.
Yeah, I don't like the
When I'm
term.
reading that, I just have a problem with that, the way that's stated. And
do you
maybe continue to monitor our strategic plan, which is in there. But I just have a problem, expand the capabilities of Board of Commissioners. I mean, it's not the capabilities, it's
The role?
no. It's looking at the commissioners as far as how we monitor our strategic plan and how we continue to make decisions in accordance with our strategic plan. And how do we continue to educate ourselves is the
Right.
bottom line.
Right. That
So-
heading's got to change.
So I just having problems, if the community grabbed hold of that, they're gonna go, oh, you're looking for junkets.
Okay,
And I don't want that.
No.
I don't think we're looking at that.
yeah.
I mean, this is holding our hand to the fire as to how we're going to continue to operate as a Board of Commissioners. I'm not sure how to word it.
Is it something about the accountability of the Board of Commissioners?
No.
Okay.
Maybe focus? No?
And it's Because you're only talking about
I understand what you mean by,
strategic plan and training.
I understand what's meant by this
Yeah.
statement.
I do too.
It doesn't, it's not stated properly.
It's not a
Right.
good word.
Yep.
It needs to be reworded some way.
I agree.
How about commit to the continual improvement of, so I like, rather than expand, commit to, and then figure out what words we're going to use.
I just, you know, I've heard comments from different people that they like the idea of us getting together and having a discussion about where we're going and how we're going, more than just, I approve this, I approve this, I approve this, or I don't approve that, and we keep going forward, so we're getting reports. So this is really talking to us about how we want to operate in the future as far as having strategic planning sessions.
How about commit to the continued vision? I'm just working with words.
How about that, and we'll kind of keep that option as one option, so the continued vision.
Yeah.
How about something like provide routine planning and development time for the Board of Commissioners?
Something like that.
Or focus time.
I like that.
For planning and, I mean, that's really what, really what you want. You want to carve out time on a regular
Yep.
basis for thinking, strategizing, and planning together. And to make sure that you have the tools to do that through ongoing training that
Right.
you might go through. Is that
So what was the title you had recommended?
provide
Continuous time.
ongoing or routine time for planning and development by the Board of Commissioners?
Okay.
Does that get a little closer?
For planning and development?
Yeah. I like that better than what we got there.
So what we're talking about is, that's one of the things I wanted, because
Sure.
we got so much out of our brainstorming sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that, you know, throughout the year you build that into your calendar and
Yeah,
you have some time for that.
Like what's been happening right now.
exactly.
Yeah, and as I provide this next draft, if you think of better language, we can, and maybe I will.
Yeah, if you think of some
but-
different
Yeah,
terminology.
I'll tweak it up a little bit, but that's really what we're trying to get at. We're not
Okay.
really wanting you to go off to Thailand for a yoga retreat or anything like that. Sound
What about
good?
efficiency?
Yeah,
The efficiency of executing what's important as a commissioner. Because when the new board got together January 1st, a couple of new commissioners came on board and they were stunned at how much work is involved in being a county commissioner. Days, hours, time, lots of time, talking to constituents, going to all kinds of meetings. Is that something you want to focus on and start working on making more efficient and trying to figure out how you can get the most bang for your buck as a commissioner out of your time?
yeah, I think that's important. That would be one of the issues.
Yeah.
Because,
think-
because
I
we
don't
talked
see that
about,
on here.
do we have too many committees that we're assigning our commissioners
And
to?
can we make it, in some cases, you can have people report to you on those things.
Right.
In other cases, you can send somebody else to the meeting and have them come
Well, I'm
back.
going to tell you what, the townships,
You're gonna have to
they
go
want
to
you
your-
there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they can go, you gotta go to your township
Sure.
meetings. So you can't get out of those. But there are some that,
I mean, outside of the township meetings and the meetings that I go to, and just a couple boards that I'm assigned to outside of our meetings, I mean, I think we've got it at a minimum now,
you think so?
yeah.
I think we're pretty close, but at least if we put this in here, that could be one of our strategic planning sessions, is talking about our committee structure and how well it's working, whether or not we think that we're having an impact, or that we need to have more involvement in some other committee.
Well, it's also what you can have done by policy and what you have to actually dispose of yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, some things you can do yourself. I mean, you can't do you can't delegate to anyone. But other things you're doing at the board level that could be delegated through policy, and then you know, have someone enforce that policy and make sure that those rules are followed. So, you know, your purchasing policy is all over that.
Right.
You know, the question is how many things do you want people to bring into you? You want people to bring in every pencil that they buy, or do you know, and you have policies that say, well, you don't have to bring in a pencil. So you can look at those policies and maybe reduce the number of things on your agenda so that you can, instead of a 2-hour
So-
meeting, have
No,
a,
3-hour meeting, we get a 2-hour meeting.
So, and then I have one other item to add to it, so go ahead.
Well, let me just do a check
Right.
here, see if I've got this. So I'm going to change strategic goal 6 to read, provide routine time for focused planning and prioritization of activities by the Board of Commissioners. Does that sound better?
Like that.
sounds good.
Okay. And then my question is, do you want to add anything in here, a D and an E, about reviewing the committee structure and refining it all, or reviewing policies and refining them at all, or do you want to just leave those off?
To make
the
board processes more efficient,
list? To make the board processes more efficient, anything
Sure.
like that?
policies and.
So I think that's a good kind of to-do you might have on your list. And then, okay, so then Herb, you had something else that you
Yeah,
wanted to?
you know, we're all going into the technology, and we need to continue to support the technology and to get out of using paperwork for the Board of Commissioners. So the iPads, that kind of stuff, having individual emails by county emails, you know, continue to support that part of it. I think we should put something in there, like, continue to support iPads and technology for commissioners.
Okay.
Would that go here, though?
Yeah, it kind
Yeah.
of falls right under that.
It falls right into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
David, I think you've got some competition. I think she can type as fast as you.
She does.
Yeah,
Type awful
pretty
fast.
Oh, I type as fast as somebody can talk.
Yeah. Wow. My Barb can do 100 words a minute. It's just, I won't type anything, I just give her.
I don't know how he does. You watch him during the meetings, and he types it all out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even think about typing
Yeah.
anymore.
so,
It's just, it comes
Okay.
out of there.
Okay, can I go to goal 7? Pursue initiatives that advance health and quality of life of the region. We're going to move B and F to a goal number 8 about protect and preserve our water resources, etc. And so then we have some other things that are going to stay.
Who, what, where, what?
B and F under
B
7.
and F under 7 are going to
We're moving
move to a
to
new
8.
goal number 8.
Oh, there isn't a goal 8.
We're going to, we created
We're gonna
it.
create a goal 8.
The
We
preserve
created it,
and-
yeah. About
Protect.
So we gotta
protect and
figure out a title for
preserve.
goal 8.
We already did.
Environment.
We did it.
Preserve and protect the, water
Oh, that was
resources,
his.
natural areas.
That was
Right.
his deal.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And then we're gonna move the dam project under there. Am I correct?
Yep,
E and F, okay.
B and F.
My question on E is, I don't want to get into listing everything or some things. I just would say support and advocate community-wide collaboratives, initiatives that support our strategic plan.
Yeah.
And that's what I would put. And then just kill the rest of all these.
Get rid of the county health
Yeah.
department,
Yeah.
Boardman River.
Yeah.
But Boardman River Dam is moving.
Just say that are aligned with our strategic plan.
so,
Is everyone, so I would take out A, I'd rewrite A to read, support countywide initiatives that support our strategic plan.
Well, I had that for E.
E.
Support
Oh,
and
got
advocate
it.
community-wide
Yeah, see.
collaborative initiatives that are in line with
I
our
got it,
strategic
okay,
plan.
I'm
And that's
sorry,
under
Larry.
7 and not the
Yeah.
new 8, right?
Got it.
Yeah, that's under number 7, and then I'd kill all the such as's.
Oh, got it, okay.
All right.
So under the number of the new, are we at the new 8 yet?
no, okay. I'd like to see something in here about economic development.
I agree with that.
Now, we don't have anything, we're doing Next Michigan, we have an economic development committee that basically has been stagnant, and we don't fund it, and how do we work at it? where we go with it. I think it's important for us to put something in there.
Well, the Chamber of Commerce is going to be coming at us next year. Well, this year for next year's budget. Pretty quick. Because we used to give 20,000 to the Chamber for economic development, and then the EDC gave the Chamber 20,000. It was a total of 40,000. Right now, we're giving them nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And other counties in the 10-county region are giving them $40,000 to $80,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to come up.
Yeah, but I don't think they've established a plan exactly where we need to go with it, and that's part of the problem. So, but I do think that we, as commissioners, need to put it in our action plan that we would support some sort of economic development.
Okay.
I agree.
So is it another support and advocate for a community-wide economic development plan?
Perfect.
Yeah.
And where would it go, under which number?
I'm putting it under strategic 7.
7, I think so too.
1, 2, 3,
A1.
4, A, B, C, D. This would be a
This would be
new
first.
E.
Yeah.
A new E.
I think we have it come for 40
Okay.
grand, right?
Yeah, because that's where they got
You knew
most
that,
of it.
okay.
Yeah, we were giving them 20 and EDC was giving them, okay, so, yeah, so the total was 40.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Can we move on to goal 8?
Yeah, because part of that is we're continuing to support, the Drain Commissioner, Conservation District, resource recovery, all those kind of initiatives start to fall underneath those.
Protect and preserve our water
Would
resources.
Parks and Recs come under that?
Forests.
Under
Parks and Rec
natural
could be.
areas. I didn't get the rest of it.
Okay.
Something like that.
No? Commission on Aging is part of that.
For environment? For
Well, health and welfare.
well, no, the quote that I had for 8 was an environmental quote. Let's see.
Yeah. Protect and preserve our water resources and forest, natural and scenic beauty of our county.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's goal number 8.
Right.
it's goal number 8, and we're
That's
going to put
goal
underneath that the dam, the drain commissioner, the Parks and Recs, resource recovery,
Conservation District.
conservation district, and I think we should put down stormwater too. I think we're ignoring that as
Okay.
county board and leaving it to townships. We should collaborate with what townships
Well, then
want to
that's,
be involved in it.
and also then sewer.
Yeah, I mean, just because it belongs to a township legally, doesn't mean we can't do something to help them.
What we have,
Yeah, but,
but continue to work with that.
well,
So what do you want to
fall apart.
say here about the drain commissioner, stormwater, sewer?
That could all be one paragraph, but
Is it a continue to support?
and just
Yeah.
use it all in one paragraph.
Okay.
List them all.
Just my
Still on
nameplate.
TV?
nobody
You
did.
named rapper?
I am.
I need to stretch my arms out.
Any chance I get.
Huh?
Oh, you don't have to do
Okay,
that.
is it time for a break?
I need to stretch my arms.
I know who
Yeah.
I am.
Okay, so number 8, I'm going to add in,
Yeah.
continue to
Somebody
support
put that there before me.
the initiatives of the drain commissioner, stormwater, is it stormwater commissions? I don't know what the term is.
Sewer, water.
Sewer,
oh, no, wait, there's a difference. It's not just sewer water, I want stormwater in there.
Well, that sewer,
Okay.
water, stormwater, and everything.
Okay, stormwater ordinances,
ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it,
Most
thank
of the
you.
townships are turning stormwater ordinances down.
that's okay.
Well-
All right, but do
It's up
we,
to
as a
them.
board, do we want to support stormwater ordinances if there's a township that wants to do it?
Townships don't want to.
That's collaboration.
State law.
All right.
That's the diet she's got you.
One of the things that's going to be coming up, and I'm not sure where to put it, is the millage for roads. And I don't know where to,
Well, that goes to
Open quality of life.
support and advocate for
Infrastructure.
community-wide collaborative initiatives. I mean, that's,
I agree.
but do
think
we
that's
want to
part-
put anything in there?
you could add,
Isn't that infrastructure?
That would be
Isn't that under goal 3?
well, infrastructure was specifically to
That's
the
county
county facilities.
infrastructure, that wasn't
Not the
roads, and
state.
that's not county roads and things like that. So, I just don't know where we want it, because if it's not in here and somebody comes in and asks us to do it, then we should change our plan or
Well-
figure out where it fits. So Dave can say, I've accomplished this.
Yeah,
To put it under 7.
yeah.
And I don't have a problem putting under 7.
Yeah.
So are you supporting a millage? Is that what you're saying?
To support the road commission in trying to figure out how to take care of our road and needs.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, we're not specifically stating that we're going to do a millage.
'Cause that's a
We're going to
safety
continue
factor.
to support them in trying to figure out a solution to be able to take care of our roads
Yeah.
and bridges.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else under 8? Do we need a stretch? Are you okay to keep going? We're going to go to 4 o'clock? Is that true?
We don't have to.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we still have a big task to
I
do.
know
We
it.
have to do
Sure.
a priority list for
Okay.
next year, so
That's
I
very
think we're going
important.
to need some time to
Do
do
it.
that, but,
Now that
Do
we
we-
made all these changes on these 2 documents or these 3
Our
pages.
next meeting doesn't start till 7. Our time is yours.
okay,
Their faces.
okay.
Take a small break? Thanks, Chris.
Do you want to take a small
Yeah,
break?
it's a
Can
stretch.
we take 5 minutes, stretch, and then we'll go?
All right, we're
I'm
recessed.
yours until 4:30, but then I do have another with plans from the departments. We've talked about a lot of things in this list here. I think for a first pass, what I would recommend is that you might take a minute and think about your top 3 priorities for the year. Just take a minute and think
Out
about
of this whole list here.
the whole, this whole list, the list that the departments have given you. Think about what do you want to make sure makes it to you, to this,
To completion.
it gets done this year. If we have to prioritize of all the stuff, and at the end of the year, you'd feel it was a successful year.
Can we
what are
do our top 5? 3 is too tight.
That's a lot. There's a lot. I'm agreeing with you.
Top 5?
Top 5.
All right.
Think about your top 5.
And we're to take these from this, our strategic goals here at the top?
Yeah, or the action plans that you've got. You've got some departmental strategic plans too, so if there's something back in the appendices that you just think you really want to make sure it gets to the to-do list for the year.
Did we add the prosecutor's office in 3D? Okay.
Yes, we did. To evaluate
Prosecuting officer needs or?
the office, the prosecutor office space,
Okay.
office and space needs, yep.
I can only do 3, huh?
5.
5,
Oh, 5.
Larry lobbied for 5.
yes.
Okay.
All right, I got my 5.
Say 1C and 5A.
Done.
You're quick. You've been thinking about this a bit. Yeah.
Can I copy off you?
It would make it, Dan, it would make it really easier if you did.
Yeah,
The goals.
I got like 1.
Your slip is done to Dr. Lathrop.
Would you bring, yeah, send it down.
Just use this one, don't get just too much there.
No, all right. Which one? Okay, he did it here?
No, I put a star next to the side.
Oh, star.
It seems like cheating,
Yeah, it is.
but,
We always did it in high school anyways.
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I like cheating.
But Dan, you can change your mind when you hear other folks' priorities. You may like some of theirs. Everybody,
B.
you good?
Smack, okay.
Okay. Dave, I'm going to skip you for a minute and start with,
I didn't do it.
you didn't do it, oh, okay.
All right, we're ready.
Okay.
their plan.
Larry, give me one. Give me one.
Just one?
Just the first one.
You don't want the full 5?
No,
All right.
give me one.
The first one is implement a 3-year operating budget.
3-year operating budget.
That's the
Okay.
3-year budget, yeah.
How about you, Charlie? Give me one.
1C, review all county services and evaluate, et cetera.
All county services. How about you, Dan? Give me one.
Well, it's not really on here of these.
That's okay.
Successfully negotiate
Labor contracts?
yes,
Labor contracts.
yes.
Why did I know you were going there?
That are fair to employees and affordable
Yes,
to county residents,
right,
the county budget or whatever.
yeah. While providing the services that are essential.
Please put in the county residents part.
How did you know what I was thinking? You were right on.
Greg and I were talking about it this morning.
Oh,
Okay, so successfully negotiate labor contracts that are fair to employees but affordable for county
It
residents.
was not clairvoyance.
and provides the services,
And provides mandated services.
mandated services, yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, got it.
Essential, not mandated, essential.
Essential.
Essential, I like that even better.
Essential
Yes.
services, got it, okay. How about you, Chris? Give me one.
What do I want?
Priority for the year. Of all the things we've been talking about, give me one of
I
your
want a
priorities.
coordinated purchasing person. I don't know, one-stop shopping, you can call it. I think that individual will pay for him or herself in 6 months.
Now, did you vote to get rid of the last one, or?
I did not.
Were you here?
Do not, no, I was not.
I don't think she came on when...
I was not,
was
did
done by
not,
It was done a number
would
of years
not.
ago.
Hard to believe.
So if you did that, if you got the coordinator,
Compensation
that
and
person,
benefits
the
review.
purchasing
Why it
person,
was done.
Compensation and benefits review.
Yep.
Would the people who do the departments not do that
Yes,
anymore? So
they would not.
reduce
They
their
would
hours?
have to go
Yeah.
through a purchasing person,
That's why you have a purchasing person.
would
How about-
know what he or she is doing.
How about you, Herb? Give me one.
Implementation of the Boardman River Dam project.
These are all great.
So Dave, am I skipping you or am I including you?
We can include him.
I think
Well,
it might
if
be,
If you wanted to help me, or for me, what I think a primary goal of the county, geez. You know, I'm on the big goals. I think maintaining our financial stability is my top priority.
so the three-year
That's-
operating budget or,
No,
okay, even bigger.
it's maintaining financial stability is just
Okay.
the only thing I can really say.
Okay.
It's defined, the three-year operating budget is a tool toward getting that financial stability in
Okay,
place.
okay.
Why don't you put slash financial stability next to one I got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we want to get specific enough that it's really an annual plan, so. Stability, okay. Okay, Larry, give me another one.
I'm going to change, I'd like to change B, or 1B to review and implement a new 5-year capital improvement budget.
Review and implement. So can I make those changes to the
Yeah.
document?
Yeah.
Everyone, are you okay with that? That's 1B, review and implement a 5-year
Why do you want a 5?
capital
We currently
budget.
have a 5-year that's expiring.
So
Should
just
it go
up, so
consistent
do
with
the
our
next
budget,
plan.
The capital improvements are generally done in 5 years.
Over,
Yeah, it's a 5-year
so you would
period.
want an overlap there.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with me making that change to the earlier document? No one's arguing, so I guess we're okay. Okay. How about you, Charlie?
For another one,
Give me another one.
mine would be with Larry. My second one was 1A and B, which is budget and capital.
Okay, so we got another vote there. We actually have 3 people here, Larry,
Yeah.
Charlie, and Dave. Okay. How about you, Dan? Give me another one.
Well, I'd like to see us make use of the successful people in our community that have faced this before, outside help, such as Tom Menzel at Beta. When we start looking at improving our county services and coalescing things and dealing with unions, I think using a person who's actually done it.
So you're looking at 5E?
Pardon?
You're looking at 5E?
Be 2C and 5E.
2C and 5E, okay. Right.
Yep.
I think it's important. Why reinvent the wheel?
Let's try and stick with this plan and pull stuff out of here.
Okay,
I think it's
Out
easier.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Okay, Chris, what else would you have? that we would
For
add?
what?
For a priority for the year. Do you have 3, or did you just have 1, the purchasing person?
Yeah, I know, but I think that's so important.
Well, you could put on your vote.
Dan has hit on the negotiations, and Dave certainly said it best when he said, you know, fair to the employees, yet keeping the county finances stable and structurally sound.
How about the residents?
So you're giving another vote for the labor
So-
contracts?
Wage thing, shouldn't they be fair to the residents as well?
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
They'll put it in
yes. All right. Be fair to the residents.
Yeah. So
You
you
know-
want to put a vote with that here? Would that be one of your priorities too, the labor
Can
negotiation?
I think about it for just a minute?
You can. You don't have to add anything if you think we've
Well,
got
I-
8 things here that
I
are,
had a news flash, but give me just a few minutes and feel free to move on.
okay. How about you, Dick? You got anything?
1C.
1C, the reviewing the services, okay.
Oh, I like that.
What was that, Dick?
Reviewing county
C,
Review all
service.
county services
C.
and evaluate
that's the review thing.
what is,
Oh, that's already.
Okay,
done.
so I added a vote for you there.
oh, yes.
Okay, good, okay.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Herb?
2A, develop a technology plan, identify priorities, budgets, and funding.
Dave, would you add anything to this list that should be a priority for the year?
6A.
Larry's going to add 6A?
Well, just a footnote, I already have 2 of them on there. I had the technology plan that Herb just mentioned, and I had the
Yep.
compensation plan that Dicky put in.
Yeah, I think. if I
And
was
then
gonna-
my last one was the review of the prosecutor's office space needs. That was my 5th one.
So you get, oh, you got 5, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to add, review the strategic plan on a regular basis.
No,
Is that 6A?
well, no, I said, I just wanted to let you know that I agreed with Herb on one of my picks. It was 2A, and that was
Okay.
develop a technology plan, so you can put a check there, next to Herb's comment.
Okay.
And I also agreed with Dicky, one of my check points were complete a compensation review plan for the employees. So put a check there.
Okay.
And then, because those have already been mentioned.
Right, got it.
And then the prosecute, and then my new one is adding the review of the prosecutor's
Prosecutor.
office space needs.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Didn't we talk one time in
When we
a
talk,
meeting about reviewing the entire building, space use, departmental use, and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know if we went to every department, but.
Well, in general, overview. It had to do with the prosecutor's office.
Well, I think
maybe, you know, that
we
kind of
talked
stuff.
about the Commission on Aging building,
That was
prosecutor's
this
office.
Because we're trying to get the prosecutor maybe moved or bring him over here. We're
Yeah.
gonna look at some space here, see what we're using and not using.
Right. I think I think the utilization of the space in this building is.
Right.
Charlie, is there anything you want to add to the list?
Mine?
Yep.
I can tell you what, I'm going to give you my 5 priorities,
give me
and you
your
can
5.
decide where you want them.
Okay.
1C, this is in order, 1C, 5A, 1AB, 2C, 5E.
Okay, now you're going
Slow down,
way too
slow
fast
down.
for me. 1C is review all, and you told me that one already, right?
Right.
Okay. What's the next one?
5A,
5A, which is
to develop and review workforce.
the workforce, okay.
Then I went back to 1A and B, which is budget and operating and capital. Then I went 2C, use outside, 5E, use outside.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. Dan, is there anything you would add to this list?
Yeah, I would say 6A, part of that, getting together more often.
Oh, the strategic plan, got it, okay. Anything else that you would add?
I think I'm done.
You're good?
Yeah.
How about you, Chris? You have anything else you would add?
I'll just hit 1C until the cows come home.
Okay. Good, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
I all did.
Got it all? Anything else you'd add?
Develop an economic plan. we're-
Economic development plan?
Yeah, so we put that under 7,
E.
So we had put here earlier, Herb, that we would support a
Support for
countywide,
Yeah,
countywide.
but not, we wouldn't develop it here.
right, no, that would be my
Okay.
goal, is working with the
Okay,
developer.
got it,
That's why
okay,
we're going to contribute to it.
okay.
Maybe.
Herb, that wouldn't be us doing one, it's supporting the
it's
Chamber's
supporting
economic
a-
development plan.
Supporting a economic development planning process or whatever.
Yeah.
Community-wide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be the community-wide one, it wouldn't be ours.
Economic development plan, got it. Okay. So here's what we got on our list. We can talk about whether this is the right list, or whether it's too long, or whether something's missing, or something should come off. So we've got, these are not in any order of,
Just a clarification, just because it's up there and it didn't come out of this list, these are still important.
these are still important. Everything, yeah, this is still your 3-year plan, but we just
Right.
tried to move some things up so that you have
Sure.
some focus for
Okay.
the next 12 months.
Okay,
So that it's not such, we're going to eat the elephant in bite-sized bits,
Right,
right?
right,
So
okay.
so then you have half a chance
because I
of,
don't want to lose some of these that are
no,
on here.
this is all going to go in
Yeah.
here, and then you can always adjust this when you do your routine planning time. You can adjust your list.
Where's the stickies at? We just go up there and vote and get it done.
Well, maybe everything stays. I don't know. So you've got a 3-year operating, but these are not in order of importance. This is just a list. So we've got financial stability, implementing the 3-year operating budget, making sure that you have regular time to review the strategic plan, assess how you're doing, improve, make sure things are on schedule or on track, refine that. A review of all the county services, what could be improved, what could be eliminated, whether you're meeting resident needs, and whether there's some opportunity to improve or have a different level of service there. A workforce plan, so that's the staffing and the development
That's the
of your team.
classification plan.
And the classification plan. We also have that over here, the compensation and benefits.
So that's the
review.
same thing.
We have it listed as 2 separate things
Right.
in our document.
How is it different?
One is what's the staffing model? So what kind of staff mix do you need? And do they have any training needs? And the other is how you compensate them.
Yeah. That one's more akin to review all county services.
These really kind of go together.
Workforce, they're looking at how do we
All right, yeah,
staff,
can you
how are we
combine-
staffing?
Yeah, combine those together, that'd be great. yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We've got successfully negotiate the labor contracts that are fair to the employees, but affordable, fair for county residents, and provides them with essential services.
Pam, where are we putting that under our goals? That really didn't come out of our goals here.
The negotiate piece?
It's not, yeah, we don't have this anywhere, I don't think.
No.
You want to add it in some, under
we
the
should
fair
add
and
it.
equitable employer? Or, so that's goal 5, or
Yeah, we need to
under
add
goal 1?
it. We do need to add it, we're gonna have it on the board.
Yeah.
It does need to go in there. Probably under 5?
Under goal 5, can I add it there?
I'm fine with that.
I'm just glad it's included.
Okay.
It's a big thing.
It is.
Make use of outside resources as needed. So not only technical assistance in the form of consultants and contractors, but also just people in the community who've been through this, who are going through it, at the same time you're going through it, that you can learn from.
You know, I see that more as a process that the board would agree on rather than a
Priority
specific
for the year?
priority. Because we're gonna take that list and we're gonna say, okay, what can we do internally, what can we can't, what things we need to do with a consultant or bring somebody in to assist it, and then we'll have a discussion and decide the direction to go. And it's not a specific goal, you know what I mean? It's not an accomplished goal.
That's exactly what I mean.
It's a process that we have to decide how we want to accomplish the goal.
Was it Charlie?
The two people
who
that put that up there, is that
Was it
comfortable with you?
Charlie and Dick who put it up here, or was it Charlie and
Well,
Dan who put it up here?
I think what happened was that I didn't realize I got caught off guard about how we're going through this, so I came up with some new stuff. As long as that gets,
Done.
you use some of that.
It's sort of
I
an
don't care if it's on there or
approach.
not.
It's an approach to accomplishing your other
Yeah, right.
priorities, I
Yeah,
think.
right.
As
I
long
don't
as
care.
you're okay with me taking it off?
You can take it off as far as I'm concerned.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
It's part of this.
Everyone's okay with me taking that off? Okay. The coordinated purchasing process through an individual or some other mechanism of coordinating it. Compensation and benefits review. Reviewing the prosecutor's space and office.
Could we add to that because we'd also talked about the city regarding Woodmere and Front Street properties as looking at all properties rather than just a single one?
Yeah, that's fair. I think if you include all that, that's fine.
Okay.
So we've got the senior center,
Commission on Aging, Prosecutor's
Front
Office.
Street.
You want to go farther than the ones that are pretty much starting to crowd their way onto the agenda? Are you looking at, because I know in the past, the county board has put together a comprehensive where we're going, and the health department building was an outgrowth of that process.
Yeah.
You want to dust that off and start, get John psyched to start working
That's not a
on
bad idea.
developing that and bringing it back to the county?
Not a bad idea.
I think that'd be beneficial.
Okay.
So
But
should
I
I
mean, that really, rather than starting to be,
It's
we're looking at the broader picture.
30,000-foot view
Yeah.
of what are we, who's where and what are we doing and how.
I'd leave that on there, just,
Well, we also have property that we may not need, and what do we do with it?
True.
So,
A bunch of it.
I mean, that could all fall in under that
Right.
whole piece,
right.
so.
So you can look at all the properties and then where there might be
Space
some
needs.
things that need to be adjusted in terms of space needs.
Property and facilities, great idea.
Okay. Property and facilities review goes
Yep.
under this.
Okay. Implementation of the Boardman River Dam project, supporting community-wide economic development, review and implement a 5-year capital improvement plan, and developing a technology plan. So it's a pretty ambitious list for the year. Does it feel like the right set of stuff, or do we need to narrow it down further?
I'm
many we have?
comfortable the way it is.
How many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, we're going to combine a
5,
couple.
6,
So we've got
7,
1, 2,
8, 9, 10, 11.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah.
So, I'm
And,
comfortable the way
one
it
could
is.
say the compensation and benefits review kind of goes with the workforce plan and the
You
review
want
of
to
all
merge
the
those
counties.
together, that's fine.
That sort of all goes together, and it sort of
then we've
fits with
got 10.
negotiating the labor,
And then we've got 10.
so,
Now, you guys have been on this board for a while. Can we do these 10 things in a year?
Depends on how much money you want to put into it.
Okay.
well,
I'm serious.
and some of these
Yeah.
may not be, you might start them this year, you might not be able to finish them in 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, some of these might
you
take
know.
more
Yeah.
than 12 months or 18
Right.
months.
But you-
We can
You could start-
certainly do 1C, my personal favorite.
Yeah, well,
I agree with you, we should make it simple.
You know,
With 5 and be
Yeah.
done with it.
yeah.
and you got to understand, Dave's not going to work at just one of these things and then tick it off and work on another and tick it off. He's going to be working on all these things all year round, and he will have progress in certain ones of these as he goes along, and that's what he's going to report on you. I don't have a problem doing 10 items, to be able to put all this stuff together. It's just.
You should rephrase that. I have no problem with Dave doing 10 of these items.
I have no problem with but I think but when I said, it depends on how much money you want to put into it, it's a critical piece. Because if you tell him you want to complete all these, you better be ready to put some money into it. And then where are you going to get that money out of the budget to be able to make that happen? that's where you get into the budget process.
Charlie had something that you wanted to
Yeah,
add
I was,
here?
rather than 10, some of these are related, interlinked
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
She's gonna combine
I think we can do 5 items that we could look at in general that would encompass most of that stuff, couldn't we?
Well,
By
I'm
expanding a
kind of
couple of them?
seeing some themes, like looking at the capital improvement plan and the properties,
Okay, but those were identified,
Yeah.
A and B, that's good.
sort of seem like they fit together.
That's my point.
You know, and technology, it's sort of the investment kind of plan there. We've got a number of things that fall into human resources and people.
You know, and the review of the capital improvement plan could fit right into the budget and financial stability.
Yeah, so I see some things fitting together too, and I can take a stab at
merge
just sort
those
of
together,
clustering them.
You could cluster
together.
some of those together.
But there's still no escaping. There's a lot of work on this list, so I can make the list look a little more comfortable to you, but I think when you look behind it, there's still a lot of
I
work.
think people
here.
could grasp it better.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think, Dave? Does this seem like a focused enough list, or do you need it narrowed down at all from your perspective?
Now, these are all
I mean, we're looking at.
broad goals
And-
that can be accomplished over a period of,
And
a year.
And really, this is because we do it at the end, or the first of the year, or whatever, this is really an 18th, since we're in June,
Yeah,
this is gonna cover from June to December, and then January to December of next year. So this is really an 18-month
this is an
plan.
18-month plan?
Sure.
This is an 18-month
Yeah,
plan.
pretty much.
Good point. Good point.
Point.
Very good point.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of interested in, I'm certainly not the person that's leading this meeting, but I'd be interested in what this board, what is our top priority, our top one
1C.
priority? Can we come together on that?
Yeah, let's vote on
What
it.
is our top priority?
Keep from going broke.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's good.
1C,
I think it's the operating budget, because if we got a shortfall of $1 million, that's hitting us in the face real quick.
I think so too.
yeah.
But how
I
can you
guess
do that,
our
how
top-
can you do the budget when you don't know what's
Yep.
mandated and what you're gonna do?
Like Dave said, maintain the county's fiscal strength and stability. That's the
That's our
number one
top
priority.
Yeah. And that would include
gonna-
the thing that we took off that I mentioned, you know, or is that still on
Using
the dealing
outside
with the unions
personnel or
whatever?
whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think, we're not going to tell Dave how to do this.
Why
We-
not?
we-
sure we
no, we're supposed to
are.
tell him, no. I think.
Eventually.
That's exactly
But he's
what we
going to
should.
bring his plan back and say, this is how I'm going to accomplish your goals.
well, I have a couple ideas for him, and I know he can't wait to hear them.
Yeah, well,
I'd like to, I don't know how this works, but I don't think Dave would be offended.
Don't stifle yourself. Just let it out.
I will. Not now, but I will.
Wouldn't have to do with Parks and Rec, would it?
So is
I
the
have some
three-year,
good ideas.
Yeah,
Okay,
you do.
I do.
Well, you're the chairman of Parks and Rec, deliver it to your board.
so is a 3-year operating
Dr.
budget
Daniels.
everyone's top priority?
the priority is just the financial stability of
The
the
priority
Financial
is the $1 million deficit that's coming our way.
Yep. Is
Well,
that-
yeah, but can we define it and say that's our priority? A 3-year operating budget that puts us in the black,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that puts us in the black is the goal.
Is the goal,
Yeah.
yeah. What's wrong with that as a top priority?
Is that your top
pretty good
priority, or
priority.
that has to come first before anything else?
Well, I don't think, if you can't do that, you can't do the rest of it.
That's true.
That's true.
But then the devil is in the details. There's a few ways to do it. Raise revenue. That's either fees or taxes or, charging others, having them do the work or charging them to do work for them. There's cutting programs down to size that, delivers a level of service that you think is still acceptable. And then there's taking the services that you are providing with the workforce you have and reducing the cost of that. I mean, we got a couple of things going on in our workforce that are kind of runaway. We got the legacy cost of pensions, and we've got health insurance costs that we don't know where they're going, but there's scary numbers out there.
Dave,
And how do you keep up with that?
I'm hearing that departments are figuring like approximately a 20% increase for health insurance.
Yeah,
Is that enough?
that's what we're being told too,
Jeez.
I heard it's
Oh, yeah.
bigger than that.
because they just don't know.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
But 20% increase is,
That's a nightmare.
$800,000 for
Yes,
us.
it is.
Yep.
Now we got a
So,
million eight looking at us.
it's not like, you give no raise and still go backwards.
Now we're looking at a $1.8 million hole.
Yeah, I mean, so we got to do something to address that problem.
Jeez, Obamacare.
With this Affordable Health Care Act essentially forcing everybody to the government system, why don't we
Oh,
bite
yeah.
it, why don't we bite it off and do it and give everybody a pay raise and let them buy their insurance?
Because you
That's a,
can't.
that's a
They
possibility.
can't buy it on a group plan.
You'll want to negotiate that.
They'll have to.
Yeah, we're going to want to negotiate.
You're going to want to negotiate
That's the whole,
that.
that's the whole point. You need to think about all
Forcing
that.
this on everybody. Everyone's going to, in the long run, be on that program. And it's time to let people know that's what the program's going to be.
Well, the state hasn't opted in on it yet. I think they're opted out.
So you're saying you couldn't
Oh, the state opted
not
out?
offer health insurance and give people a nice raise to go buy their own insurance?
No, I'm saying that the state opted out of Obamacare. So, that's my
It
understanding.
went to the Senate.
You better look at the big picture.
Wasn't
Well,
passed
the big picture
yesterday.
is,
We're going there.
it's 20%, and you can't expect people to buy insurance on their own, because they have to, instead of $5,000 for a single, it's $10,000 for a single.
I think you're looking at it backwards. I think we need competition. Go shop for your insurance and people will come down with a reasonable price.
That's how the
That's what the
prices got
problem we
out of
have
whack
now.
anyway.
We did shop it, and that's why we're where we're at.
I'm not talking about that level. I'm talking about where we're going in this country.
Well,
Well, we can't solve that
I don't
here
think
at
we
the
can
county.
Yeah, we
Resolve that
can.
issue
We
here.
could solve a big problem by
Where's
if we
your
did
spirit
this
of
health
adventure?
insurance.
well,
Is low.
so-
The numbers are going to be bigger than 20%.
We're just gonna have to deal with probably, higher co-pays and everything else, so.
So
That's another
there was
way
a
to do it.
question on the table about what's your number one priority? And it sounds like the financial stability and getting make
Yep.
sure the budget tells you operating in the black at the end of the year. And everything else would be second to that. Okay.
Everything else is, wouldn't it be a nice list?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Is there anything else we need to accomplish today? Is that,
I'd like, since this is, we're going to draft this up, I'd like commissioners to go back through. If you got the time, if you can find the time to look at what the departments have submitted as far as theirs and cross off the ones you don't like, just read their little, their goal statement and then what they expect the outcome to be, or, maybe the task list. And if you say, I don't think we ought to be doing that, I don't think our county money ought to be spent doing that, cross it out, and then at our next meeting, or when we go to adopt this, maybe bring those forward. And if you see anything that needs to be added to the list, meow.
Cat license. Cat license.
So, yeah, I
Every
mean,
time I hear a cat,
I really
think
would
of
like,
you.
if you can find the time to do that, I think the department's done a pretty good job of putting this together, and,
Well, I think rather than like crossing out, you'd want an explanation.
well, if there's anything you see in there that you want to either add or, subtract
When would you like
from
this,
these
Dave?
plans, because they're looking at these plans as if, I kind of look at this as you're approving the whole thing. So they're saying, we think we ought to be working on this, and you're saying, yeah, we think you ought to be working on that.
A good way to do it would be take these goals and compare and contrast them to what they're saying.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to find a lot of discrepancies there.
Okay.
I think, but if you do, or if there's something in there that you think, no, we shouldn't be doing that,
fit it all in?
When would you like that feedback?
well, before we adopt this,
Okay, in the
so that we
next
can add
few
something,
weeks,
on,
or-
on the board floor or whatever, when we go to adopt it, and if we want to change anything to from the final version, and then we'll get it the way we want it and publish it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
What's the calendar on that?
End of the month?
End of this month?
No, in the next
week?
month.
End of
the next
next month.
Next, end of July?
Next month.
We can already cross off one of the goals, and that is implement Cherry Lane Intermediate Society contract for kennel services.
Yeah, we already did that.
We accomplished that.
We accomplished it.
let's not cross it off, let's leave it there and put accomplished after
Well,
it.
It's done, it's done.
Well, yeah, you got a couple of those that
Yeah,
have
and
already
there's a
been
few of these in
accomplished.
here that you
I
can
said,
say,
it's just
we're
being
done.
humorous.
So,
Great.
I don't know if anybody read Pickles, but on the paper, I just love it, because she's adding something to a list, and her husband says, but I thought you've already done that. She said, yeah, but I just want to be able to cross it off.
Yeah. It feels so good to
Yeah,
check them off.
And sometimes we have to be able to cross things off that we accomplish.
Yeah.
So, and that's the beauty of that, and that, I like that idea.
Well, we've already got the iPads in the commissioner's hands, so
Exactly.
we've got 2 things accomplished already this year out
Yep.
of this list.
And that, in 6 months, it took us 6 months to do those 2 things?
Well, look at your board agendas. You accomplished a lot more than that.
I got a question for you, Dave. A while back, you gave us a kind of a timetable for developing the budget. Now, I'm not putting pressure on you, but could that be done sooner?
Like,
You had a process you went through. You asked all, you outlined that process, and it looked like you would present us with a budget, was it September?
I believe it was, yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not putting pressure on you. Maybe this is impossible, but would it be nice for us to have that a little sooner? So we had,
Can't do it any sooner.
Part of the problem is the timing of getting
Assessed value.
all kinds of things. It's not so much assessed values as health insurance premiums.
okay,
The MERS number, we do have the MERS number this year. Normally, we have to wait until like August to get it, but we did get that. But they can't get us the health insurance number until sometime in August, and that's if we press them for it. So, it's really hard to firm up where the budget's gonna be without that big number, which could be 20% higher, it could be 15% higher, or 10%, and it makes a big difference on the number of,
well, I guess the only reason I
Dollars
asked is
that are
that we're
available
going
for other
to
things.
be, we're going to be really tackling some big issues here real soon, and the sooner we had numbers, the more chance we get to
well,
discuss it.
Jen Seaman is coming back next week.
Okay.
And I know she's going to want to just take it easy for her first few weeks, but we're probably not going to give her time to do that. So we're going to be developing the negotiation strategy, using some assumptions like 20% health insurance. We're going to try and do some projections on that and that's what we're going to work on before we get to the budget, so that we can develop a budget that's based upon those strategies.
Okay. Thanks.
So you'll have something to do, is what I'm saying. Something important to do.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. It was a good session this afternoon. Good
So
work.
Just to, Mr. Chairman, so we're going to have the 2 of them put this list together in a cleaner format, shoot it out to us, and then would we, at our next meeting, at the board meeting, just adopt
We adopt
the list? All right, okay.
Yep. And I'll also produce a revision of your plan.
Okay.
With the changes we
Yes,
made
all the
today.
changes.
And then if you like this blueprint, I'll also do this blueprint document as well. I don't know if that's a helpful thing or not.
I thought it was.
Yeah, so you have a diagram.
That'd be helpful.
You said you liked the idea of an executive,
Yeah, I need an executive summary we can hand out.
Yeah, so something like that.
It's going to be changed, but I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll update
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah, this
and
is
then you'll
good.
have that. And
Yeah, 1-page executive summary, that would be outstanding.
Great.
And then the other thing, I think, then making sure when we adopt it, then it gets posted onto our website.
Right, yes.
To be able to make, and then maybe, setting up a time to, bring the media in and talk to them about what our goals are. And maybe, even if you don't mind, because I've got the relationship with Mike at the Record Eagle, and talking to them about, this is what we've done, this is how we're going to try and implement, and maybe Dave would go out there and be able to do some PR in telling the people what we're doing and how to access it to our, and then when you're going out to your townships, you would also bring that to the townships so that they know what you're doing. So it's a multifaceted way of talking to the media and getting it out to the general public after we adopt it.
As Chris said, don't use the word PR, it's public information.
Yep.
It's information.
I don't want to,
knowledge.
there's a difference.
Yeah, I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Information is different than spin.
Yes.
And I don't like spin.
So-
No one does.
What I'd like to do is go around, does anybody have any more additional comments about the meeting, and do you feel it was fair? And do you want to add anything else that we don't have?
I would have enjoyed hamburgers. You asked.
Hey, we used to do this,
I'm kidding.
and we brought everybody together, and I furnished steaks one time for everybody.
Did you?
Yes,
I think I missed that meeting.
yeah. So that was at the old chairman's office,
Yeah, I did miss that meeting.
Wow.
yeah. So anyway,
You've obviously priced beef lately, because they're not, I don't see steaks
yeah,
served.
right. Okay, Charlie, anything?
I thought it was a great session. I think it kind of washed itself out. I'd like to see a little more simplicity, but, all this stuff comes together somehow. We have to prioritize it. But I think we got a lot of prioritizing to do in this county. If we're gonna
Dan?
really look at what money we have and if we're gonna make this thing come out in balance.
Right. I
Dan?
agree.
I think that we've got some incredibly difficult things ahead of us. And, it's going to take a lot of work on all of us, and some sacrifices by everybody.
Yeah, Chris?
Motion to adjourn.
Actually, I think he has to do public comment.
Pam, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Pam.